Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Charles Alpha. You can watch these news on Vision TV 247 and other social media platforms displayed on your screen. The headlines. President backs Grand Patron of Science, recognition of Nigerian Academy of Science. Federal government restates commitment to solving current poor electricity supply. And Nigeria, Russia agreed to work together towards improving socio-economic stability in West Africa. President, in the light of new findings unearthed during a comprehensive investigation into the financial activities of the Rural Electrification Agency, President Bola Tinubu has approved the indefinite suspension of the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Ahmad Salijo Ahmad, alongside 3 executive directors of the agency from office. Furthermore, President Tinubu has ordered a wider investigation into the conduct of the aforementioned officials in a fraudulent mixed expenditure amounting to over 1.2 billion naira over the past 2 years, and some of which has already been recovered by anti-graft agencies. By the directive of the President, the following qualified Nigerians are appointed to serve in the new management team of the Rural Electrification Agency in acting capacity with immediate effect. Abubakar Aliyu is now the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. Ayuade Boyega, the Executive Director, Corporate Services. Umar Abdullahi Umar, Executive Director, Technical Services. Doris Ubo is the Executive Director, Rural Electrification Funds. And Olufumi Akinyelure, Head of Project Management Unit, Nigeria Electrification Project. President Bola Tinubu expects all appointees in his administration to uphold the highest standards of transparency and accountability in the discharge of their duties, and reiterates his determination to elevate the yearnings of Nigerians for good governance and qualitative service delivery above the narrow interests of individuals who are entrusted to provide critical services to the Nigerian people. And President Bola Tinubu says his administration will remain committed to the development and application of science, technology, and innovation in the quest to ensure greater overall development of Nigeria. The President made the commitment at his investiture as the Grand Patron of Science by the Nigerian Academy of Science at the State House. Now, State House correspondent Musbal Den Wahab reports.
The champion of an 8-point agenda currently targeting an all-round development for Nigeria. But in his idea mix, he certainly needs more than his experiences as an astute accountant and administrator to drive the agenda. In this age and time, the economic development must be knowledge-driven with application of science, technology and innovation pivotal. Here are the leaders of the League of Nigeria's foremost scientists, Nigerian Academy of Science, not just to promise support for the administration, but equally to make the leader also the man in front for their revered association. Now, not just as the president, but also as the Grand Patron of Science, President Tinubu would demonstrate his clear understanding of the place of science, technology and innovation in his development agenda.
I believe without great research and development, no nation can develop to achieve its desire. Pay attention to science and development is a commitment that I will continue to support directly and through various government policies and programs.
Though The commitment of the government needs to come in more ways than one. Funding is central.
Through our Ministry of Science and Technology, health, education, and related ministries will be mobilized and supported, and funding for science and development. I am fully committed, and I work like
Nigeria, currently with some challenges hindering its growth, but this body of scientists is presenting itself as a partner for the country's development.
The Nigerian Academy of Science has the intellectual capacity to support this transformation. For national problems to be conclusively addressed, there's a need for healthy collaboration between researchers, government, industry, and community in a quadruple helix arrangement. This way, there will be effective research translation, that is, the movement of research output from the laboratories and workshops to inform policy and practice.
Currently, with about 280 fellows across science disciplines, the Nigerian Academy of Science, established in 1977, acts as a scientific advisor to the federal government. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Nigeria and Russia have agreed to work together towards improving the socio-economic stability in West Africa. This came to the fore in an engagement between the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. Musa Babali reports.
It was a bilateral roundtable discussion between the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister and that of Russia.
That was expounded by President Putin.
The discussion centered on mutual interest and African regional stability. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov expressed hope that the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the authorities in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso will take steps towards addressing their differences. He appreciated the Nigerian-Russia relations, pledging Russian continued support to Nigeria. Ambassador Yusuf Tugar highlighted the long-standing military and defense cooperation between Russia and Nigeria and appreciated the Russian government's support and assistance in intelligence sharing, which has aided the fight against terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria.
Russia has always supported ECOWAS, and this is something that we have reaffirmed will continue. Nigeria is presently the chair of ECOWAS. So that collaboration in terms of the fight against terrorism, in terms of security, in terms of trade will continue.
While responding to Russian Foreign Affairs request for Nigeria to join BRICS, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar said discussion is underway. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
It has been 2 weeks since the lifting of sanctions on military-ruled Niger, but the pace of economic recovery is slow, and the generals have shown no desire to reopen the border with Benin Republic. Victoria Bassi has details.
Barricades initially put up in anticipation of an armed intervention by the regional bloc, ECOWAS still blocked the road linking Niger to Benin Republic. Also, the political and economic standoff between Niamey and ECOWAS, which is the demand for the release of deposed President Mohamed Bazoum and a return to constitutional order, has remained since the July coup. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, announced late February the lifting of most of the sanctions, including a no-fly zone, border closures, and asset freeze. Niamey Trader says they have started seeing improvement in electricity supply, but still experience problems in transportations as well as shortages of food and medicine. Niger's main power supplier, Nigeria, cut off power at the time of the coup, causing blackout which hit the economy. The Nigerian Electricity Society has been reconnected to the 820-kilometer high-voltage line between Niger and Nigeria since March. The Republic and Nigeria have reopened their borders, but Niger's border remains closed. The lifting of sanctions was intended to signal a willingness to renew dialogue with the military regimes among ECOWAS members and came after Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso announced their intention to leave the bloc in late January. After announcing the end of sanctions on February 24, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu urges the three countries to reconsider their withdrawal and stop threat to ECOWAS. Victoria Bassi, NTA News.
Now from there we go to Senegal, where the long-awaited and debated election dates for Senegalese presidential polls has now been arrived at. The President, Macky Sall, announced March 24 as the date for the election and also indicated major changes for its preparations. Kolo Mohammed reports.
The announcement puts an end to a dramatic evening that saw President Sall's dissolution of the government and replacement of Prime Minister Amadou Ba with the Interim Minister Sidiki Kaba to allow Ba, the ruling coalition's presidential candidate, focus on his electoral campaign. Earlier, the Constitutional Council ruled that a proposal from the National Dialogue Commission for the vote to be held 2nd June was not in line with the Constitution. The President of the Republic informed the Council of Ministers that the date of the presidential election had been set for Sunday, 24th March. The decision is the latest twist in a month-old electoral crisis that has sparked violent unrest and warnings from Senegal's international allies that its reputation as one of the cool-hit West African country's most stable democracies are under threat. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
In Ghana, thousands of people flocked to the Koforidua Sports Stadium as the country celebrated its 67th Independence Day. Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo joined the crowd and lit a ceremonial touch while performers in traditional clothing performed in a vibrant parade.
So much proud about the gains that we have made, because we have a lot more that we have to do. We have democracies that are younger than us, but they have achieved a lot. But Ghana, here we are 67 years after the independence. I would say most of our plight has been the usual sub-Saharan African issues.
Over the years, we have not experienced such a program here, having the president, the vice president, and then we even happen to have the president of Côte d'Ivoire, here, and then it's a blessing because
This year's Independence Day parade was held under the slogan, "Our Democracy, Our Pride," and was also attended by Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, who was welcomed as a guest of honor. March 6 is celebrated as a national holiday in Ghana and marks the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which saw the West African nation break away from 83 years of British colonial rule. Strikes are the latest in a wave of industrial action to hit Germany, where high inflation and staff bottlenecks have been sourced. Kolo Mohammed reports that wage negotiations in key parts of the transport sector, including national rail, air travel, and public transport, are also being contemplated.
Germany faced strikes on 3 fronts on Thursday as train drivers, airport security workers and Lufthansa staff walked off the job, spelling further headaches for millions of travelers in Europe's largest economy. Train drivers began fresh strikes at 2 a.m. and national rail operator warning travelers that it could run only a small fraction of its usual services. The walkout marks the beginning of a wave of rail strikes planned by the union as it pushes for reduced working hours. Airports in Frankfurt, Germany's busiest, and Hamburg cancelled their departing flights due to striking security workers. tagged the most disruptive strike action in 30 years, as about 250 flights are said to have been cancelled. The protests and demonstrations target the public sector, and air travel is likely to be the worst hit. This means the cities expect extra travelers on different systems, as people must get to work, attend to business meetings, and honor medical appointments. This is believed to have the roads compounded, as even more people will settle for road trips. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We will take a quick break now. Please stay with us for more reports ahead. Many thanks for staying with us. One way to grow Nigeria's industrial capacity and tackle the challenge of unemployment is ensuring self-sufficient power supply. This view was espoused by lawmakers during plenary Thursday when Senator Ned Nwoko raised a motion in relation to supply of electricity by an independent power plant to its host community in Delta State. The lawmakers want the federal government to review the power policy and the privatization of the sector for efficiency.
Whatever conversation that will bring about efficiency, adequacy in electricity for our country, because we can't move an inch to industrialization if we don't have that, is something that we should continue to debate until we get it right there.
The entire privatization that was done, who is hardly what, because if you go into the details, Mr. President, you will find that in the name of private sector ejection or participation in this system, public funds have actually been used to bail out private people, and the country is still in the dark.
I don't want to say that there's something wrong with our system, but I think it was also because of this same thing, privatization. So we seem to take a step forward and 2 steps backwards. We take a step forward and 2 steps backwards in the country. So I don't see why, when other countries were using nuclear to even get to give power to their people, they will say don't touch nuclear so that you remain in that continent. Now they are moving from nuclear to green energy. They are now telling you, because they've developed themselves, they've already industrialized with nuclear energy, but they told you not to touch nuclear energy. Senator.
Now, in view of the current epileptic power supply, Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu is appealing to electricity consumers to be patient, as federal government and industry players are working tirelessly to address challenges and deliver better services to all customers. In a message through his X handle, the Power Minister expresses concern over the deteriorating electricity supply despite increase in generation, but says steps are being taken to improve supply. His recent meeting with Chief Executive of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, and the Managing Director of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is part of engagements to find lasting solution to the power supply challenges. He again warned distribution companies over load rejection and says willful non-performance will not be tolerated, while TCN has been tasked to prioritize repair works on damaged transmission towers and power lines on debt-old generation companies and gas suppliers. The Power Minister says plans are on the way to settle them, while issues of vandalization recently witnessed in Abuja, Benin, Port Harcourt and Ibadan are being tackled. Rendering humanitarian services to communities will not only foster socio-economic development of the nation, but also improve the standards of living and well-being of the people. Heads of service, Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, stated this after being conferred with the award of Iyagbede Ambassador by the Iyagbede Development Association, Ijumu local government area of Kogi State, in recognition of her meritorious and philanthropic service to humanity and the development of the community. Haman Jabani reports.
The group expressed its appreciation to the head of the civil service of the Federation for her support in promoting human capital and developmental projects in the community. One of such projects is the upgrading of a community health clinic to a cottage hospital with a view to providing adequate health care to the people within the community.
This advantage is spread across because it has to do with the health status, building the health status for the people in the community. And of course, the moment the project gets to a level of commissioning, communities around the yard will equally benefit from it. That's why we can see that it has an unlimited advantage.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Emieson, thanked the delegation for finding time to visit her and deemed it fit to confer on her the prestigious award. She disclosed that rendering humanitarian services to communities will not only foster socio-economic development of the nation, but also improve the standards of living and well-being of the people, while enjoying the society and the community to ensure the sustainability of the project.
Whatever we can do to strengthen the hands of the Development Association, those of us in government should actually do so, especially when the projects or the needs in the community are genuine needs. A cottage hospital is something that every community should have.
She said strategy for maintenance should be put in place to keep the facility functional while pledging continuous provision of humanitarian services that will bring succor to the people. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The need to optimize performance towards the realization of the imperatives of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been stressed. The Director General of the Directorate of Technical Aid Corps, Dr. Yusuf Buba Yakub, spoke during the certificate presentation exercise for participants of a 3-day capacity building training for staff of the agency. Dr. Yusuf Buba Yakub said the Corps remains committed to President Tinubu's quest for high performance in public offices in the bid to actualizing the promises he made to Nigerians, while urging the newly trained officers to apply all that they have learned to their job and also commit themselves to stepping down their newly acquired knowledge to others who were not opportune to participate in what they had just received. The TAC boss also promised to extend to other members of the staff the opportunity that had been given to the new trainees.
Proud of you all for sacrificing your time to attend the program. I have seen that you are always concentrating from morning till afternoon to see that you learn something and improve your skills for effective service delivery to the Nigeria Technical Aid Corps and by extension to our country at large.
The training is the first phase of the strategic plan put in place by DTAC to bring its workforce abreast with the new thinking of the management of the agency. About 250 students who used to be aspirants to the bar have bagged first class in the November 2023 bar final examination. Those who are successful in the bar finally have been called to the largest bar on the continent of Africa. Omenka Marachiko reports that the chairman body of benchers, Justice Mary Audley, urges the new weeks to demonstrate the high level of professional ethics and dignity of the law profession.
That handshake by the chairman board of benchers, Justice Mary Audley, to the new weeks formed part of the activities for the 2023 Cultural ceremonies. 5,300 candidates participated at the examination. 4,412 of them were successful. 251 made first class. 1,022 had second class. 2,175 came out with second class lower, while 964 had passed.
That the Supreme Court now has the full complement of justices required to man the court. The good also, to the extent that the welfare of judicial officers is being taken seriously, and the body of benchers alongside other relevant bodies is championing the process.
Act of integrity, exhibiting integrity.
Some of the new wits have this to say.
So I believe that I would learn as time goes on. What we learned in school, in theory, is different from what is in the real world. So I believe that as time goes on, I will gather more experience, more knowledge.
In this feat today is really something worthwhile, and I'm very grateful to God Almighty, to friends, to my family.
I would use my experience to help people in any way that I can, to use my knowledge of the law to provide justice for the indigent and those who do not otherwise have easy access to justice.
I hope to improve myself, of course, through reading and studying and learning from my seniors to be the best I can wherever I find myself.
I don't know yet. Hopefully good things. This came as a surprise to me, so I hope to continue to put hard work into things, and I'm starting work soon, and hopefully I get to do many things.
Established in 1963, the Nigerian Law School has produced over 135,000 legal practitioners, with many of them becoming judges and justices manning judicial divisions across the country. In Abuja, Umeka Marchku, NTA News.
Let's now check the weather prospect for Friday in Nigeria and other parts of the world. That is it for now on NTA International News. I am Charles Alpha, and Hannah Lanka has been our sign language interpreter.